So, sir, as a structural consultant, how important is it to do regular inspections and checks? And should people, and also I would like to know, I want to ask you with an example. I bought this house that is 10 years old, and I see water, those cracks everywhere,
Dampness.
and then other few other things as well. So, as a consumer, when should I be worried? What are the worrying signs for me to consider going somewhere else if it risks my safety?
Oh, yeah. In fact, I conducted one training program to the student, civil engineering student, on building health checkup. Like we have regular health checkups for medical health checkups. We go to a dental doctor, we go to a cardiologist, we check our blood test, urine test, ultrasound, ECG, X-ray, 2D. Similar way for buildings also we can do. So any engineer who is trained or qualified will be able to tell looking at basic cracks, like a doctor who checks the pulse and will be able to tell. Similar way, buildings also we can identify the basic problem, whether it is livable or there is something called serviceability we call. First stage is serviceability. Means dampness comes under serviceability. Like if the building, either it was not designed for serviceability properly, or check was not done, or it was designed, detailed, but not executed as intended. So that is where the checks, periodic checks of the engineers comes into picture. As per National Building Code also, every building has to be checked for once in 5 years and certified. Like you have elevator, it requires safety certification. Every elevator once in 5 years. So better take a certificate from a qualified engineer. In fact, we do it for corporate companies. There is something called seismic qualification we call. So every 5 years, because codes are changing,
Rules are changing.
building may deteriorate. Soil performance we don't know due to the effects of climate, heavy excess rainfall, excess temperature. So keep changing. That climate parameters keep changing. So it's always good to go for a periodic check every building owner. So that's my suggestion. Then you can be peaceful and confident about your building.
So if I see cracks on the walls and even on the outside of the building, so is that a worrying sign?
Depends on type of crack. As an engineer, we can always, by seeing the crack, we can say whether it is structural crack or shrinkage crack. We have creep cracks in the buildings. And some people call air crack or hair crack, in the plastering without proper curing, all these things. And also performance-based cracks, like waterproofing not done properly, water seeping into the concrete. There are so many parameters. So by proper inspection, testing, only we can say what is dangerous, what is not.
So while we're on the topic of cost cutting, as we were discussing earlier, what is value engineering, and how does it, as a structural consultant, does it give you a bias because it's about cost cutting, I'm assuming, and building the right materials in the right place?
No, first of all, I want to clarify to you.
Okay.
Value engineering is not cost cutting.
Okay.
Value engineering is enhancing the value for the money spent. I'll give you example.
Okay.
We have a thumb rule in any construction. A thumb rule is 1/3 of the cost goes into the structure, 1/3 of the cost goes into the finishes like flooring, plastering, paint, and 1/3 goes into the utilities, MEP, electrical, plumbing, elevators, all this external landscaping and all. So this is the thumb rule: 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. So we also arrive at the cost of construction from the sale price. Like now here you take 7,000 rupees is the selling price. That's what we see. We do the market survey. We assess what is the sellable rate for this project. If 7,000 is the sellable rate, you cannot start selling at 8,500. So we fix that 7,000. In that, land component, approval costs, and consultant's fee, all that is fixed, we take out, and balance is left for the construction. Finance cost, marketing cost, all that we have to take out. In the balance construction cost, then value engineering comes. How much shall I put it on finishes? How much shall I put it on utilities? How much on structure? Nowadays, amenities, community facilities and amenities is another factor actually. We are seeing developers advertising, I'm giving 100 amenities. Like that. And clubhouse area, how much area of clubhouse. Though there are norms, some as a selling point, unique selling point for that location, builders will be offering these factors. So value engineering is the one which will assess. In fact, I attended value engineering workshops in projects. 2 days, it runs for 2 days. We all sit, consultants, MEP, some projects we have some 16 consultants. Like facade lighting is one consultant, landscape, and transportation, circulation consultant, vertical circulation consultant, all are there. And the interior lighting, interior finishes. So all of us sit together along with the developer and the marketing team of the developer. We debate on each parameter that is offered to the buyer. And we decide that and try to get the best for that price, what is available. Like flooring, you tell me, I want to spend 100 rupees for the flooring. So in 100 rupees, we have 15 options. You can go for granite, you can go for marble, you can go for vitrified, you can go for combination of these. Nowadays, we have epoxy floorings, all this. So we discuss on pros and cons of each option and decide the best. That is value.
Okay. So how does this apply to construction, luxury construction projects? Because there you might not compromise on the price because you're making it high end. So how does this...
Even luxury segment, every buyer looks for value for the money they spend. It's not that even a luxury car buyer, he will not just spend the money without seeing the benefits, performance. Same in construction also. But only thing is, in affordable, we try to fix the construction cost at 1,600, 1,800, 2,500 like that, depending on number of floors and all that. In luxury segment, it starts at 3,000 and upward. It may go up to 4,500, 6,000 also, construction cost. So now, what is luxury? Let us look at it. How you call a particular segment luxury? I always say that in the luxury segment, we have large areas and so large spans. And we don't want, we want high floor height to be higher than normal. Normally, in affordable segment, we will start with 9 feet 8 inches also floor height. And in that, we try to manage the thickness. When we go to the luxury segment, you can design with 12.5 feet and give a clear height of 11 feet. Or you can go for 14 feet and still give 12 feet only. So what do you choose? better to reduce the services. So when we reduce the space for services, the cost of services goes up. Whether it is air conditioning or firefighting, fire detection, these are all important elements in luxury. And the automation, building automation, and safety surveillance, access control, all these aspects are taken into account, and still we do the value engineering. Value engineering, as I said, is there for 1,500 rupees also per square feet and 4,000 rupees also. Always value engineering makes it look more than what we spend. So that is the purpose of value engineering. So luxury segment has its own challenges in terms of facilities, amenities within the building. Like you have a swimming pool within the flat. So that's a luxury component. So we have to design for the swimming pool, structure and water supply, water treatment, disposal of the used water. All this will happen in luxury segment. So facilities, finishes, high-end finishes. I forgot to mention, in luxury segment, the biggest challenge in the structural engineering is going beyond the serviceability criteria. The codes give us serviceability criteria for normal construction. Suppose we are using Italian marble. The person who is using Italian marble doesn't want to see a crack in the joint. Even a 0.1 mm crack also they don't want to see. In fact, it practically happened to us. I did the audit of a building where the span is 100 feet. 100 feet span. Structural engineer has designed with normal criteria. Whereas the false ceiling is imported from Italy. And so the joints are not supposed to have any, it looks like a seamless. Similarly, Italian marble, very costly, 1,500 rupees per square feet Italian marble. But the structural engineer has designed the structure with normal thing. So what happens in 100 feet span, structural engineer is given this information about the finishes plan and utilities that are required. They'll be factored into the design, and serviceability criteria has to be more stringent. Similarly, construction tolerances. In the normal code gives construction tolerances of 5 mm, 10 mm allowable in construction variation. Whereas in luxury segment, we have to limit it, these tolerances. Like for example, in the old apartment construction, conventional formwork and column brickwork and all, we used to have a tolerance of 10 mm within the floor. With my one, already with the construction system itself, we are able to limit it to 2 mm tolerance. Because if it is beyond 2 mm, formwork won't fit itself. So formwork itself will assure the tolerance, limited tolerance. So like that in precast, it is furthermore stringent, 1 mm tolerance. It is possible. So similarly, depending on the luxury segment and its requirement, we should change from conventional systems to more assured systems, which will give us the serviceability criteria